3 months ago, I did a video on the CMMG MK47 Dissent. And I said this about it. This is something different. Now, are there some changes I would like to make? Yes and no. There are changes, but not really. I think this in a shorter barrel would be phenomenal. Fast forward to 2024 SHOT Show. I'm on the show floor and I hear a psst, psst. I turn around and it's one of the members from CMMG. He was like, I saw your video on our MK47 Dissent and I got a surprise for you. I was like, okay. And he was like, coming out with a shorter version. And I was kind of like, okay. But on the inside, I was like, whee! The Dissent MK47 with a 12.5 inch barrel. And I'm a happy man. So what they did was they sent me the 12.5 inch version of the MK47 Dissent. And not only did they send me the 12.5 version, they sent it to me in this freaking beautiful burnt bronze color and in pistol configuration for obvious reasons, because SBR.
If you're an ammo sexual like me, you probably spend more money on gear for your guns than you do the guns themselves. So here's me trying to save you some money by telling you about today's sponsor, TacPack. TacPack is a monthly subscription box filled with some of the best professional grade gear, like this 27-piece AR toolkit from Fix-It Sticks, or this Radian Raptor charging handle, or this QD mount from Reptilia, or this M-Lock handguard from Cross Machine Tools, and many more other companies. There are two tiers: standard, which costs $59.95 but has a typical value of $90 to $120, and TacPack Plus, which costs $139.95 but has a typical value of $240 to $300. And starting today, new subscribers can use the code Noir and get a free extra box of tactical gear worth at least $60. So thank you, TacPack, for supporting the channel.
So what is it? Well, it is an abomination because it has the features of an AR-15, but the soul of an AK-47. That's essentially what it is. It shoots 7.62x39, which is the AK-47 round, but everything about it, from a control standpoint, feels like an AR. So for instance, selector switch, AR-ish, right? Even the grip, interchangeable, AR-ish. Here, well, has a side charger here, which is, you could argue it's AR-ish and AK-ish. And then the other AK aspect of it from a feature standpoint is you have this mag release that's very AK-ish. It's not very AK-ish, it is AK-ish because it's exactly how the AK mag release works. But, though this doesn't have last hold open like an AR, you can manually do it by pushing this lever here, dropping it down, and you have a manual lock open, hold open, which is very AR-ish. Now, because this is a pistol, like I pointed out, I have the SB Tactical stock on here, which is still collapsible. So we got 12.5 inch barrel length with their, I don't know what they call this, because this brake and the brake on the 14.5 inch that I did a video on is different. And another thing about it that's very AR-ish is the takedown. It's 2 pins. You don't have 2 pins on an AK. And also the gas system. Though you would look at this and think that this is a piston-driven system, it is not, especially considering you can fold it just like that. But it's not a piston system. What it actually is a short action direct impingement system, or as I call it, their compact action direct impingement system, which means everything, all the action fits right inside of this area, right over here, allowing it to be buffer tubeless so that you can do stuff like that. Other than that, it's pretty much the exact same setup as the 14.5 MK47 Dissent that I did the video on 3 months ago, except it's bronzier, it's shorter, and I love it. Oh, and also has a dust cover, which is pretty AR-ish. So like I said before, it's kind of, so if I'm gonna state it specifically, has the mind of an AR with the heart and soul of an AK. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. What do you think, Peter?
I like it.
Yeah. So, how does it feel? Well, it is exactly the same as the 14.5 Mk47 Dissent, except when you start chopping down the barrel to 12.5 and then removing the stock, it kind of changes the dynamics of the gun a little bit. So from an ergonomic standpoint, the gun feels form factor wise so much better to me, because my biggest complaint about the other one was that as well as it shot, as good as it looked, it just felt too long. And I think the rail had something to do with it too, because it was a very long rail, and this rail, though slim, still kind of has a presence to it. And the gun just felt a little teensy bit unwieldy. Now with this, with the 12.5, I feel like the balance is back. It feels proportioned. Now some people love that length. Me, personally, I like shorter guns. That's just always been me, that's always gonna be me.
That's just me.
Because there is no stock, you have some of the weight now sitting forward of the stock because I'm utilizing a brace. It feels good on the shoulder. Now, with this brace is a little small, a little short actually for me, so I find myself kind of wanting to back up off it. I can probably mitigate this by moving my optic a little forward to kind of give myself a better eye relief, but by and large, when I'm actually shooting it, I'm not exactly noticing. Like I don't, now I'm lying.
You're lying.
I was gonna say, it doesn't really feel any different compared to the stock, but I'm absolutely lying because I love that stock. I call it the Terminator foot. But once again, in his odd, weird way, Peter's like, oh, I don't know, I like it better with the brace on it. Why?
Because it looks better.
For me, I just feel like, and keep in mind, I love SB Tactical braces. Love them to death, but on this, it just seems unfinished. Like there's pieces missing.
I think you're wrong. I think you're missing some pieces.
Somebody asked you anyway. It does a great job being a brace, but I noticed it's not the stock. So, how does it shoot? Another thing that changes when you start chopping down the barrel and taking away weight is the recoil starts changing. The 14.5 shoots noticeably softer than the 12.5. And I prefer shooting the 14.5, but I prefer the form factor of the 12.5. What that means? Here, I'll try to explain it. Shooting wise, the 14.5 shoots very soft. Very soft. This, if I never shot the 14.5, this, I'm trying to determine whether or not I would actually say it shot soft. I don't know if that's necessarily the word I would describe as shooting soft. But the 14.5, I didn't feel like I was shooting a 7.62 by 39 round. When I shoot the 12.5, I feel like I'm shooting a 7.62 by 39 round, if that makes any sense. It's just a little more stout recoil than you got from, well, that's another thing. You know, of course, AKs, they don't have a hold open on last round. Has more to do with the magazines than actually does the gun. Of course, you got the manual hold open, yada, 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 yada. From a shooting standpoint, once I get over the fact that it has a little bit more stout recoil, everything else becomes sublime, largely because the form factor changes. So I can go here, transition the target here, and the gun just feels more natural. It just feels more mobile and less restrictive in terms of just all this weight I'm moving around up front. And the other gun wasn't even that heavy. It just was so much going on up there that it made me feel a little, I wish it was smaller. And keep in mind, I love the 14.5. So this is kind of giving me the feels right now. The only thing removing it is like, I kind of miss how soft the other one shot. Can't have anything in this life. There's always something, right? Can't never have perfection. Just give us perfection. No, can't have perfection because reality. Yeah. All right, let's talk about this trigger. It's the exact same trigger that was in the other one. And I wax poetic about that trigger, and I'm gonna wax poetic about this trigger too. It's a single stage trigger. I don't normally like single stage trigger, but I like the single stage trigger in this one. So, if we shall take a look. here, single stage, boom, single stage, boom. And if I want to run it, I can run it. So I mean, it's still a runner. It's still a track star. So the trigger on this is exactly the same. I actually really like the trigger, except for when I had to zero the gun. Having to zero the gun is kind of pain in the ass with this trigger because there's no progression. It's just straight up. Once you're on it, you pull the pressure. God damn it. I hate that lack of less. I don't know what they can do about that personally, but it's annoying as shit. I need a last hold open. Can somebody come up with a last hold open option? Or, well, this wouldn't be an AK47. You get the point. But yeah, so like, when I'm trying to zero the gun, it's annoying because it's like, this trigger being a single stage, and there's no progression to the trigger, it's just here. There's no take up, there's nothing, it's just off. And it's kind of harder to finesse my way to a really good group with this gun in terms of zeroing the gun because of that. Other than that, from a dynamic standpoint, being out and running the gun, it's simply beautiful. Who is this gun for? Me! It's for me. This was, when I did that first video on the 14.5, I was honestly blown away by the platform, largely because it did such a great job of marrying all of the things you like about the AR-15 and all the things you like about the AK-47. You brought them together and then you gave it a visual platform that was actually really aesthetically beautiful in a very mechanical Terminator Transformer kind of way that I walked away like, damn, I love this thing. I just wish it was a little bit shorter. And they did that. And so I got to give props to CMMG for doing that because that's what they did. They made it shorter. And then I get it, and then I start complaining about the fact that it has a little bit more stout recoil. That's just me being a prima donna. That said, no one's gonna like this, but I'm gonna say it. And depending on how much blowback I get, I'm gonna probably do a singular video on it about it. I would take this over an AK. You give me an AK in the same 12.5 inch, I'm gonna take the AK. No, what? No. Oh, I'm gonna take this. Was that Freudian? Was that a tactical Freudian slip? No, I would take this. I think I would take this. Largely just because it's just such a beautiful marriage between all of the platforms that I already know. I have ergonomic complaints with the AK that I don't have with this. I like how sleek this feels. I like how this thing looks. I like how it feels. I like the way it shoots. I like just about every single thing about this, except for the lack of a last round hold open. But what platform does that shoots this round? So for me, and this may be premature, I'll give you that. But right now, the way I'm feeling, running this, you're like, hey, you gotta grab something, let's go. And it's gotta be 7.62 by 39. Keep in mind, I have my favorite AK in the truck from Rifle Dynamic. This is really sad. I guess I just found a reason and an excuse to do another video. That's what I'm gonna do. I've already made a decision. See, off camera, me and Peter were talking about how I'm gonna talk about whether or not I'm gonna SBR it or not SBR it because I like the stock, he doesn't like the stock. Nobody cares about what Peter thinks. However, what I am gonna do is I'm definitely gonna SBR this gun. I'm gonna SBR this gun, and when I SBR this gun, actually I don't need to SBR the gun. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a video comparison of the 14.5 against my 14.5 Rifle Dynamic. And then I'll give you my absolute conclusion as to which one I think is the best. Because right now, I'm getting torn.
Right now, shop.mrcolionnoir.com. We just released our new Stanley style water tumblers or coffee tumblers or whatever you want to put in it, because this keeps your cold drinks cold for 24 hours and your hot drinks hot for 12 hours. On top of that, you get your straw, but even better, you can make it leak proof. But the best thing about it is you can actually put any of the designs, the 2A designs that I have at shop.mrcolionnoir.com on your tumbler. So now you have a better looking tumbler with better functionality. And yeah, so head over to shop.mrcolionnoir.com or hit the link in the description section and grab your Pro 2A tumbler today. Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.